Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Organ Donation India Foundation, and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today is a very, very important day. Today, the world is celebrating World Vegan Day. World Vegan Day is celebrated on 1st November across the world to encourage people to follow a vegan lifestyle. Many prominent vegans believe vegan food benefits human health, protect the well-being of animals, and also helps in protecting the environment. Donald Watson on 1st November 1944 called a meeting of 5 people to discuss the non-dairy vegetarian diets. They established a new movement known as the vegan lifestyle to focus and promote the lifestyle of vegans and their importance. Veganism is the practice of abstaining from the use of animal products, particularly in diet, and an associated philosophy that rejects the commodity status of animals. An individual who follows the diet or philosophy is known as a vegan. Distinctions may be made between several categories of veganism. Dietary vegan, also known as strict vegetarians, refrain from consuming meat, eggs, dairy products, and any other animal-derived substances. An ethical vegan is someone who not only follows a plant-based diet but extends the philosophy into other areas of their lives, opposes the use of animals for any purposes, and tries to avoid any cruelty and exploitation of all animals, including humans. Another term is environmental veganism, which refers to the avoidance of animal products on the premise that the industrial farming of animals is environmentally damaging and unsustainable. Well-planned vegan diets are regarded as appropriate for all stages of life, including infancy and pregnancy, by the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the Australian National Health and Medical Research Council, the British Dietetic Association, Dietitians of Canada, and the New Zealand Ministry of Health. The German Society for Nutrition, which is a non-profit organization and not an official health agency, does not recommend vegan diet for children or adolescents or during pregnancy and breastfeeding. There is inconsistent evidence for vegan diets providing a protective effect against metabolic syndrome, but some evidence suggests that a vegan diet can help with weight loss, especially in the short term. Vegan diets tend to be higher in dietary fiber, magnesium, folic acid, vitamin C, vitamin E, iron, and phytochemicals, and lower in dietary energy, saturated fat, cholesterol, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, calcium, zinc, and vitamin B12. A poorly planned vegan diet may lead to nutritional deficiencies that nullify any beneficial effect and may cause serious health issues, some of which can only be prevented with fortified foods or dietary supplements. Vitamin B12 supplementation is important because its deficiency causes blood disorders and potentially irreversible neurological damage, although this danger is also one of the most common in poorly planned non-vegan diets. The word vegan was coined by Donald Watson and his then future wife, Dorothy Morgan, in 1944. It was derived from alvega and alvegan, which had used and suggested beforehand by original members and future officers of the society, George A. Henderson and his wife Faye, the latter of whom wrote the first vegan recipe book. In August 1944, several members of the Vegetarian Society asked that a section of its newsletter be devoted to non-dairy vegetarianism. When the request was turned down, Donald Watson, secretary of the Leicester branch, set up a new quarterly newsletter in November 1944, priced 2 pence. He called it the Vegan News. At first, they used it to mean non-dairy vegetarian. However, by May 1945, vegans explicitly abstained from eggs, honey, and animals, milk, butter, and cheese. From 1951, the society defined it as the doctrine that man should live without exploiting animals. Interest in veganism increased significantly in the 2010s, especially in the later half, with more vegan stores opening and more vegan options becoming increasingly available in supermarkets and restaurants worldwide. The first edition attracted more than 100 letters, including from George Bernard Shaw, who resolved to give up eggs and dairy. The new vegan society held its first meeting in the early November in the Attic Club 144 High Holborn, London. World Vegan Day is held every 1st November to mark the founding of the society, and the month of November is considered by the society to be World Vegan Month. The Vegan News published recipe and a vegan trade list of animal-free products such as toothpaste, shoe polishes, stationery, and glue. Vegan books appeared, including Vegan Recipes by Faye K. Henderson in 1946 and Aids to a Vegan Diet for Children by Kathleen V. Mayo in 1948. The United States School Nutrition Association found 14% of school districts across the country were serving vegan school meals compared to 11.5% of schools offering vegan lunch in 2016, reflecting a change happening in many parts of the world, including Brazil and England. In total, as of 2016, the largest share of vegan consumers globally currently resides in Asia Pacific, with 9% of people following a vegan diet. In 2017, veganism popularity rose in Hong Kong and China, particularly among millennials. China's vegan market was estimated to rise by more than 17% between 2015 and 2020, which is expected to be the fastest growth rate internationally in that period. This exceeds the projected growth in the second and third fastest growing vegan markets internationally in the same period, the United Arab Emirates, that is 10.6%, and Australia, that is 9.6%, respectively. In 2018, the book The End of Animal Farming by Jesse Ricci and Thess argued that veganism will completely replace animal-based food by 2100. The book was featured in Guardian, The New Republic, and the Forbes, among other newspapers and magazines. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the origin of which is widely agreed to be the consumption of baits, over 100 British celebrities, including John Bishop, Ricky Gervais, Jane Goodall, John Marr, Deborah Maiden, and Paul McCartney, signed a joint letter alongside various politicians and NGOs calling on people to join the fight against climate change and prevent future pandemics through changing to a plant-based diet, starting with signing up for veganuary. In January 2021, 5,82,538 people from 209 different countries and territories signed up, breaking the previous year's record of 4 lakhs. That same month, ONA in France became the first vegan restaurant to receive a Michelin star. In India, the 2005-6 National Health Survey says that 1.6% of the surveyed population never consumed animal products. Veganism was most common in the states of Gujarat, 4.9%, and Maharashtra, that is 4%. In 2021, vegan climate activist Greta Thunberg called the more vegan food production and consumption worldwide. Parties in Germany and PECMA in Spain have pro-vegan agendas. They cooperate via Animal Politics EU. In the European Union, meat producers and vegans argue whether vegan food products should be allowed to use labels like sausages or burgers for vegan food. The EU currently bans labeling with dairy-related words like almond milk, a rule instated in 2017. As of 2019, 6 countries in Europe apply higher value-added tax (VAT) rates to vegan plant milk than to cow's milk, which pro-vegan activists have called discrimination. The popularity of vegan food has been slowly gaining momentum in India. Over the last few years, not only people started to appreciate the concept of veganism, but have adopted it in their
lives too. According to a UNFAO report, India has the lowest rate of meat consumption in the world due to 80% of the 1.4 billion population being Hindus. According to rough estimates, there were around 500 million vegetarians in India in 2020, and of these, only 1% are strict vegans. So the total number of vegans in India is around 5 million. Today, people have a variety of plant-based food options that are both healthy and tasty. And more of them are now preferring vegan diet, and thus catering to this increasing number becomes an important task. To find out if the Indian food producers and restaurants are ready to cater to vegan customers, and if the market is ready to take up the challenge of providing more plant-based options, a survey was done with the Indian industry experts. The vegan customers in India, although small currently, are growing rapidly. The product offering, however, are quite limited, especially when customers are looking for a replacement of a meat-based product. However, achieving the same meat-like taste, texture, and aroma using only plant-based ingredients is a difficult task. Few use the latest innovations to ensure that each product is developed such that even a meat eater will enjoy the product just as much. To cater to the increasing numbers, more and more restaurants and bakeries are now providing vegan dishes on the menu. Veganism is not just a trend, it is definitely here to stay. There were no vegan options, and today vegan guests are offered dairy-free options on menus. People post-pandemic have become more conscious of food consumption. This has led to people opting for a plant-based lifestyle. Some consumers find vegan products overpriced, as industries need to produce in volumes to achieve economy, but at the same time, the population willing to pay is increasing. And to discuss this very important, on a very important day, this important topic, World Vegan Day, we have very elite, those who have dedicated their life for this cause, very noble, I must say, the thing that is the vegan, because vegan is not only saving the animals, not saving the lives, but it is also saving the environment. And the beauty of today's program is that all the three panelists are founders of an online support group for local vegans and aspiring vegans. They are also initiators of the vegan potluck practice. And to discuss this topic, I would like to invite my first panelist guest, and she is Miss Jisal Mehta. Miss Mehta is an ex-IRS officer. She is a famous author and entrepreneur. She is a renowned activist. For a decade, Miss Jisal Mehta was a senior officer of the Indian Revenue Services. Later, she shifted to the entrepreneurship and personal exploration. Her novel, Blossom Showers, was at the time of its launch in 2011 among the bestsellers of the landmark book chain. She is active and articulate as a speaker, sharing her erudition and insights on a diverse range of subjects. Animal welfare has been a primary area of her philanthropy that has ranged from funding wards and facilities at local shelters to supporting feeding, rescue, and rehabilitation activities of needy animals of various species nationally and globally. Turning vegan in 2013 was a defining moment that expanded her intellectual and creative engagements to promote the crying imperative of compassion to all beings. Believing that veganism can grow with increased access to alternative goods and services, she opted to be a co-owner at Carrot's Restaurant, the first vegan restaurant in India, situated at Bengaluru, which was inspirational to the growth of vegan dining in India. Activism for her is an everyday phenomenon, a statement of the self that expresses itself in being creative with food, fashion, and various lifestyle products, that it is not about eliminating but expanding the range of choices through exploration and discovery of human alternatives. She has been a host to celebrated vegans of international stature like Dr. Will Turtle and Dr. John Kong, for whom She hosted events for interface with the public. She has been the keynote speaker at the Satvik Vegan Festival for 2 years. One of her areas of expertise as a speaker is discovering intersections of compassion to animals and veganism across religions and social justice movements. She is a mentor on local and global online groups on practical aspects of veganism. She is a contributor to the book Vegan Voices, Essays by Inspiring Change Makers, recently published by Lantern Media New York and released at Plant City, Rhode Island, USA, alongside internationally renowned activists for animal rights and veganism. She is impassionate to share the inner power of compassionate living. Welcome, Ms. Jaisal Mehta, on our show. Ms. Mehta, today the world is celebrating World Vegan Day, and I am sure today is a very landmark day for you because I know you personally, how dedicated you are for this cause. And you always, wherever you go or whenever you invite anyone for your parties, you make sure that everything should be made without using dairy or any non-veg items. And that is a very, very, I must say, dedicated quality of a person. Because if you are going to a party and you are making sure that you will be served only those things, otherwise you always say that you will not eat anything. And similarly, when you are organizing a party and you are calling all the who's who from the city or the state or the country, you always see to it that you serve them only vegan. Now, we would like to know your views on World Vegan Day. Ms. Jaisal Mehta, please.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Goel, my fellow panelists and viewers. Happy Vegan Day to all of you. I'm happy for this opportunity to share my vegan journey. First and foremost, I would like to say that veganism is not just a dietary approach. In fact, it is an entire attitude of the self to conscious life. People who have known me in the past doing a lot of other things like quizzing or speaking or writing would be surprised to find that veganism stands at the core of me today. But all of my life has been kind of preparatory to this moment. For example, in my teenage, I was an enthusiastic quizzer, collecting facts about various things. But that very nose for knowledge took me to discover the catalog of cruelties that are perpetrated on animals. And in due course, as more maturity came into the picture, I could see all these isolated facts, whether it was cruelty to animals, environmental devastation, and human health, fused into something really big. I was also a student at Jawaharlal Nehru University, which most of you would know is at the forefront of revolutionary thinking in various things. Now, the thinking there continues to be anthropocentric. It was even then, which is focused on human beings and their challenges and that kind of thing. But what it taught me was how to take on an unjust status quo and also to take on the might of big corporate systems, which is what the scenario of veganism is all about. The mammoth structures of what we call animal agriculture. So my shift to what I call compassionate consumption represents resistance to these gigantic corporate systems centered on the suffering of animals and environmental devastation and indifference to human health. Thereafter, my working life was in the Indian bureaucracy. Again, this is largely about serving people. But being a bureaucrat from a very early age, my mid-20s onwards, I was serving in very, very responsible capacities. And this kind of permeates your whole life, whether you're in the bureaucracy or not, which is to always feel responsible for the vulnerable. So when I got to know about the various cruelties and injustices of animal agriculture, I found myself asking the question, if not me, who? If not now, when? Because I believe that change is something that starts with the individual person at the current moment. So with all this background, there was a point that I was finally led into veganism, and that kind of ties in with my writing life. In the year 2011, as Mr. Goel mentioned, my book Blossom Showers, my novel Blossom Showers came out. And one of the releases was in Hyderabad, where actor Nagarjuna and his wife Amala Akineni were the chief guests at the Reliance Time Out bookstore. So after the event, I was just kind of browsing some publicity. And there I came upon something about Amala being a vegan. And you know how it is with online media. One link leads to another. And I was kind of taken to a PETA 21-day vegan challenge. And quite casually, I just applied for a kit, which came to me. It interested me. And I said, no, this is something I must do. But at the same time, I was kind of sitting on the fence about when exactly to start. Then one of those situations happened in my life, which really kind of defines you. And faced with this situation, I found myself asking the question that how is it that we as human beings can expect to be really problem-free when we inflict pain and suffering elsewhere? Is it sufficient if our good conduct is just confined to our own species? Or is there something more? We all have this subjective perception in every religion that what goes around comes around. You may call it karma or whatever else, but we do know that there is some kind of action-reaction effect. So I kept thinking that, well, perhaps this process of really being problem-free, of attaining happiness, of achieving equilibrium, it may very well start with what we put on our plates, what is in our cups, what we are wearing, what we are doing. So that was what I call my eureka moment to equilibrium, that I could make the connection between what we consume and how we feel. So this was really, really a very, very powerful moment in my life. This was the starting point of my turning vegan, which was specifically to address a certain problem I had come across. But I realized that you can't close your eyes and expect someone else to do the knife work, and at the same time be completely feeling free and guiltless as a person in terms of one's consumption choices. But that eureka moment of equilibrium was something that was not illusory. I could actually feel it happening. I could feel that shift towards positivity. I could feel myself full of inner peace. And though health was not really on the charts at that point of time, it was not my primary reason for going vegan, I could slowly start feeling even well-being on the health front. A lot of little issues that I could not really explain before, they kind of started getting sorted. And overall, I felt much more happy. The same kind of sentiment was also there with the rest of my family. They also made some very, very encouraging discoveries about themselves. There was a real clarity of mind and a surge in creativity. So these are some of the things I did find. And coming to creativity, when you're vegan, you stop just being a passive consumer where something is on the shelf and you just pick it up and you say, okay, that's fine, that's convenient. When you're a vegan, especially in the time that I started, when there were not many products around, you have, at that point, definitely not so much today, you have to be what is called a DIY, a do-it-yourself. But that in itself was a very, very enchanting discovery. Now, all of us are used to a packet of milk reaching us every morning, which used to be my experience in the past. But turning vegan for me, it was a proactive experience. Like I had to grind the almonds or the coconut or the cashew or boil up the soy to make the soy milk. But it was a very, very beautiful experience. You feel literally like you're a creator, that it's quite indescribable how you feel connected with the universe when you're producing something, especially say when I looked at a bowl of yogurt made out of coconut milk. You feel something close to being a creator, someone who knows the secrets of the universe. So it's a very, very priceless feeling. And I would urge virtually anyone to try the same. At the very least, even if one is not producing independently, definitely there is that sense of driving the market to produce what is socially desirable. I would also describe myself as someone with like a Superman complex. I love to be there in the role of a rescuer. In the ordinary course, I used to do a lot of rescues of injured and wounded animals. I've contributed to shelters, lots of things like that, feeding initiatives and so forth. But this is something on an even bigger scale, because you are saving animals, live beings, from becoming just body parts in a freezer. You are preventing them from becoming bags and belts and wallets. You're preventing them from being in very cruel occupations like, say, pulling carriages, or being test subjects in experiments, or being objects of entertainment in events like cockfights and bullfights. So it's an entire savior complex that emerges. And it's really, really a very powerful feeling. And Mr. Goel just now mentioned quite a lot about climate change, which is probably the biggest challenge of our times. And vegans, because of what is recorded to be having the lowest carbon footprint, they are saviors in a very real sense, mitigating these furious forces of climate change. And when you're vegan, you're not just saving the animals which land up on the dining table. There are a whole lot of other animals that you don't see. And that is because to rapidly fatten billions of animals, huge, huge acreages of grain have to be produced. And this grain can be more feasibly fed directly to human beings instead. Now, this huge acreage just doesn't happen on its own. It happens at the costs of forests, giving you deforestation, which again has its impact on climate change. It also has an impact on biodiversity, which means a lot of valuable species lose their homes. And in places like the US, where the ranches compete directly with sanctuaries for animals, the plan is to simply hunt the grizzly bears, the mountain lions, the coyotes, the wolves. And in the recent past, we have seen even how the Amazon rainforests were burning. They're called the lungs of the earth. They were burning just to give way to ranches for beef. So this is how far a vegan saves the environment. And whether one believes it or not, one is also making an impact on issues like world hunger. Because as I mentioned, these huge acreages, which are currently being fed to animals to fatten them up fast, can be directly fed to humans, ending the problem of malnutrition and world hunger. So this in brief is the evolution of my journey, which has really taken me forward in many ways. I try to see that veganism informs the many things I do, whether it's a general purpose speaking engagement or the things I write, because I think it's very important to be meaningful, to not just do something for the sake of it, but to also create change, to be the change that one wants to see in the world, as Gandhi would say. Today is World Vegan Day. It's also Rajotsava Day. So let me share with you a nice tidbit which connects the two. Donald Watson, as we heard, started the World Vegan Society in 1944. And very interestingly, the Indian Vegan Society, it started in Karnataka, thanks to the efforts of a gentleman called Mr. Shankar Narayan, who lives in the neighboring district, who, influenced by the teachings of Gandhi, contacted the World Vegan Society to start an Indian branch. And today it's now called the Sattvic Vegan Society. And as Mr. Goel said, I've been a speaker there at the vegan festivals that are conducted and draw people from all parts of the world. So the very spot of the world we are in is quite a happening place as far as veganism is concerned. And I really hope that from this little coastal spot, one really has the wings to fly everywhere and take the message of veganism both locally and globally. Mr. Goel?
Thank you very much, Ms. Mehta, for giving your views. And Ms. Mehta, who started her career as a IRS officer and then become an author, a successful author, and then she decided to become an activist, or that too for the veganism. And the way she has explained the advantages and for everything, including the human life, even the environment, which is very, very important, and including about the protection of animals. And she says, even for environment, she has mentioned about the Amazon fire, how the fire has taken place. And she says, if the world hunger, which is a very bad condition, and India, we know that this hunger list has come where the India is far below even from our neighboring countries. It's 101 place today in this year. She says, if we will stop farming for the animals, we can farm, use that land for the farming for the human beings. And so that world hunger can be, or India, especially in India, the hunger can be removed. Even in the world, it can be removed. And she has explained all the advantages, how a person who is a vegan will have, or those who are having. And she says, and she earnestly appealed to everyone that please try at least once, and then you see, then you will understand the advantages to be vegan. Thank you very much, Ms. Mehta, for giving your very, very, very informative views and your own life journey. And I'm sure that this is a very enlightening for our viewers, because when I sent the flyer, I received the messages that many of people wanted to know what is vegan, whether they can eat fish in the vegan or not, whether the eggs are allowed or not, or only the dairy is banned. So many questions. So I'm sure that when we will have the next round of question answer, we will ask you the questions and you will be explaining to them. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Advocate Meghna Adhikari. Advocate Meghna Adhikari is an advocate by profession and animal rights supporter by passion. She has actively engaged herself in grassroots awareness program for animals across India for the past 5 years. Currently, she is serving as a campaign manager for an animal rights NGO called FIAPO, Federation of Indian Animal Protection Organization, based in New Delhi, where she supports and mentors grassroots volunteers. Welcome, Advocate Meghna Adhikari, on our show. Advocate Meghna Adhikari, you have heard what Ms. Mehta has explained. Now, I have also seen you for last many years. I have seen you even the coat, where you are wearing the black coat and with your band, etc. How come you have changed your thing and now you have become totally a full-timer for the animal protection. Although it's a very good thing that ultimately, if your heart bleeds for the animals, it is very noble thing. But being an advocate and doing a very promising advocate to change the heart, definitely you might have experienced and you might have undergone such a transformation in yourself that you have decided to be a vegan, not only vegan, become a vegan activist. We would like to know on this very, very important day, the World Vegan Day, your views. Advocate Meghna Adhikari, please.
Hello, namaste. Thank you, Goel ji, and thank you, V4 News, for having me here. Extremely, extremely happy and inspired to be with fellow panelists as well. And yeah, so I think it's better I talk about my journey, just like how Goel ji said, how this transition happened and where I am right now, why I am here. So a little bit, let's go a little bit of flashback, about me and what is it really. So I have, right from childhood, I grew up in a village, and there was always this connection with nature around, with animals, that has always been there. And just like everyone, I grew up, I've taken education, moved to city for jobs, and through the process, what I understood is, I was into animal rights since childhood. I was more into talking about why their rights matter, and I was also an ardent animal lover. My mom used to be a rescuer. She used to rescue dogs and cats in the streets. So all these things kind of molded me, I can say, right from childhood. So when I was in Bangalore, I moved there for my first job. And when I was working, I got in touch with this team who conducted this awareness program for animal rights. And that is when I met a lot of volunteers and activists from Bangalore. And, because of social media, I got in touch with them. And, they keep sharing all these information about animal rights. While I thought I am doing a lot of things for animals, I've been an animal lover, I don't hurt animals. But then when I saw these posts, there were so many information and contents which kind of made me rethink my life and question my lifestyle. So I have been a vegetarian by birth, and I have consumed dairy products all my life. And once I stumbled upon a video which where it spoke about artificial insemination of cow and buffaloes, and that, in fact, I saw an image of artificial insemination, and that made me question, like, this is how the milk is produced. And I went home and I discussed it with my mother. Do you know how the milk is produced? They're artificially inseminated. It's so this made me question, and I got more in detail about all of these information. And eventually I got to know that there's something called vegan lifestyle. Although I knew a little bit about the word vegan, but I never kind of went in deep into it. So and then I did some research, and I got to know that I even watched few videos to educate myself. And this transitioning happened from there, that I realized that not just being animal lover is not enough, and talking to them, because there's a lot of exploitation happening which we as common people are not aware of. And that's when I transitioned to turning into vegan. It didn't happen like overnight. It took some time. Being me 3-day like curd and other dairy products is like a day-to-day food lifestyle that we have. So it took time, and that process, I should tell, it was beautiful. I thoroughly enjoy that journey. Even now I'm enjoying it. And then, as Goelji mentioned, I used to practice law at my hometown, Mudbidri. And through that process, I felt something empty within me. I was like, okay, I have transitioned to being into a lifestyle where I'm not using any animal products, because I feel that, they are not meant to be used. They have their own rights to live, and I cannot use them, for my needs. But I wanted that, because I didn't know about these information, I wanted that message to be out. And that is when I moved to Bangalore. I stopped practicing. I didn't want to, I wanted to focus more on what I felt the need was. And I started volunteering as a grassroots activist in with NGOs, as an individual activist. And along with that, I did it for some time. I even worked in a local vegan cafe for some time. So, and also I got in touch with this animal rights organization, which I'm part of right now, which is based in New Delhi, where I got an opportunity to be part of them full time. And then I moved to Delhi, and because of this opportunity, I was able to, the fire that was there inside me, that I want to spread this message, I want to educate people, I want to make people aware what I didn't know before, to spread the message of what is vegan lifestyle, what is animal cruelty, what is happening behind the bars, which a lot of us are not aware of. So this platform gave me to do exactly what I wanted to do. And with that, I have traveled across India. Traveled to almost all the states in India, and I've done street activisms, lectures in colleges, and even we've conducted potlucks where we get people along and we have food that is mostly plant-based and vegan food. There's no dairy or meat products. So all through while I was interacting with public, the one factor that comes, the one question that I ask is, do you know where your food comes from? Like, if you're eating a chicken, or if you're eating a mutton, if you're eating ice cream, do you know where your food comes from? And most of us are unaware of it. Most of us are unaware of it. We do know that animals are being killed, or animals are being killed is what the max we know, but we do not know the reality. We do not know how it happens. So this also makes people rethink their lifestyle question, because this is a very dominant ideology that is existing in the society, that it is okay to use animals for our needs. But that's not necessarily true. It is a social conditioning that's been happening from ages. And right now at this place, we don't really need animals. We have all sorts of resources to live a happy, healthy lifestyle. As Giselle ma'am said, as even Goel ji said, that the benefits of plant-based lifestyle or vegan lifestyle helps our own health. Definitely, it helps animals and it helps environment as well. So with that, I kind of started this awareness, and I'm part of it even now. And my journey has moved from awareness and also towards cooking. I explore my form of cooking in different ways, just like Giselle ma'am said, that making a yogurt out of coconut milk is something you feel like you're a creator. It definitely made me feel so too. Trying almond milk, trying cashew milk, trying soy milk at home is literally, it's a charm in itself. So along with that, I also felt this is something I want to share with the viewers, that vegan is not something extraordinary. It's very normal. It's for me. See, for example, if you want to identify me, you need to call me with my name. That's Meghna. So vegan is also a word to identify, to understand, to make us understand what is this concept, what is this lifestyle. And this lifestyle is about not hurting any living beings for our needs. And we can lead a plant-based lifestyle without exploiting animals. So that is what it is. So, and it's today it's Kannada Rajyotsava, and Karnataka or South India. Mostly, I'm telling about South India, that our food is majorly by default it's vegan. If we most of the dishes say neer dosa, idli, or masala dosa. If you skip curd or ghee, it's by default vegan. So it's not something that, unless and until if we are going for alternatives, yes, we may have to do it at our home by ourselves. But now that, there's so much in the market as well, you can like literally buy products, all these plant-based products. We have so many Karnataka based founders who are coming up with new plant-based products getting into the market. So yeah, that's something I wanted to tell, that veganism is basic, it's not something out of the world. And also in the end, I want to tell that I want to share a little bit about this word speciesism. I think this makes us kind of rethink about our perspective towards animals. So speciesism is a word that's coined to make people understand how we differentiate animals. So we mostly love cat or dogs. That's like by default we love. We usually love animals, but our love towards maybe cow or a buffalo or a pig would be very different. So it's kind of a distinction that we have in our minds, and it is because of the social conditioning that is done to us. While all these animals have equal rights, just like we humans, they also have equal rights to live. And we should try to lead our lifestyle as much as possible, not kind of exploiting them. And it is possible to lead. We have YouTubes, we have a lot of people across leading this lifestyle. We can always reach out to them and understand more about it. So yeah, this is a bit about me, and thank you so much for this opportunity. And I feel really happy. It's Kannada Rajyotsava, it's World Vegan Day. There's Diwali coming up in a couple of days. Really excited and really happy to be here. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Meghna Adhikari, for giving your views, rather your own life journey. And it's very interesting, as our earlier panelist, Ms. Jisal Mehta, she started her career as an IRS officer, and she then the author, and then she became a vegan activist. And Advocate Meghna Adhikari, she started her career as a very, very promising advocate, but then she became an activist after observing and after feeling the pains of the animals, and then she has become a vegan activist and for the protection of animals. And she described each and everything, what are the advantages, as well as why we should protect the animals. After all, they are also like us, and why only we have love for cat and dogs, or somewhat for cows, but not for all the animals. After all, they are also equal as we are. And yes, she rightly said, now today Karnataka, especially the Karnataka, is celebrating the Rajyotsav, and the Diwali is coming. So and today is a very good day because of celebrating the World Vegan Day. So thank you very much, Advocate Adhikari, for giving your views and your own life journey. And we wish you all the best, because you have to, there's a long way to go. But I'm sure that such type of young activists, if they will decide and to do something for the betterment of the society, definitely the change will come. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Dr. Shruti Rao. Dr. Shruti Rao is MDS. She is a dentist and vegan activist at Mangalore. She completed BDS and MDS in oral medicine and radiology. She is a passionate artisan and a vegan activist. She is a firm believer of Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. Along with veganism, she practices low waste and sustainable lifestyle to help the animals to tackle climate change, global warming, and to lead a healthy life. She is a passionate no plastic campaigner. She conducts talks and outreach about veganism, global warming, low waste, and sustainable livings in educational places. Welcome, Dr. Shruti Rao, on our show. And today is a very, I must say, our panelist, ex-IRS officer and advocate. Now the third and the finalist panelist is a doctor. Now, again, Dr. Shruti Rao, you have heard what Ms. Jisal Mehta has mentioned and what Advocate Adhikari has mentioned. Now, you being a doctor, and a doctor means that you, in your studying, you might have
because in biology, everybody has to dissect the frogs, and many animals are used. And even on the human, or not the dead, but on the dead bodies, we are used to do. But as a doctor, now you are become a vegan activist. It means you might have understood the advantages of vegan medically, because earlier panelists are not, they are not medically, they doesn't belongs to the medical science. But you being a doctor, you have studied medical science, you have closely see the things. And if you feel that the vegan is better and medically proved, definitely we would like to hear your views on the World Vegan Day. Dr. Shruti Rao, please.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm okay. Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Shruti Rao, as sir introduced me. So, like everybody, I guess most of the vegans here, most of our journey begins because something personally would have impacted us, and which would have made us start thinking, why are we living a life like this, and why not choose something that is more compassionate? So for me, it was the same. Growing up, I belong to a family that believed that animals are here with us, not for us. My dad was into putting dogs for adoption, like he used to adopt stray dogs, put them for adoption. So I grew up being in that atmosphere where I realized that yes, they are with us, not for us, not for entertainment, or not for something that, we had to use them. But growing up, yes, I grew up in a very, very uh, like an orthodox Brahmin family. So ghee, curds, milk, everything was such a vital part of our life that nobody actually told us that how they come from animals. We were told that yes, it comes from animals for us. The animals are giving those products for us. So I always believe that a cow gave us milk because she is meant to give us milk, not because she gave us milk because she was pregnant and she was giving those milk for her babies. So I guess this was at one point, as you said rightly, in biology class, when I realized that yes, this is a natural process that happens in a human's life, especially a woman's life, where she gives milk for her offspring. This was the beginning, I would say for me, for in this journey where I started questioning myself. I started reasoning things that were taught to me. So I started unlearning a lot of things that we were conditioned to. As Megan has said, we are conditioned to so many things that this is the way. Cows give us milk, we are supposed to drink that, or animals meat is there, it is healthy, you need protein, so you need to eat meat. We have been made to believe all that. We are made to understand all that ever since we are a kid. So I guess in the year of 2016, I was doing my post-graduation course, and I guess it was a series of events that finally led to me exploring the vegan world. So I didn't know anything about veganism. I was going to my anatomy dissection class. Sir already mentioned that. So I was going to my anatomy dissection class. So I don't know, by God's grace, we never had to dissect on frogs or cockroaches. Luckily, that was not there in our syllabus, even during our 12th grade or even during my medical courses. But as I was passing by the anatomy lab, I stumbled across a room which is filled with guinea pigs and mice. And that broke my heart because I love animals. I am an adherent dog lover. And to see so many guinea pigs as well as mice kept in small cages, and some even had certain holes and needles stuck to their back, really broke my heart. And not only me, people who really didn't love animals also felt really bad, realizing what are we doing to them? They're alive, they're so tiny, and they have needles stuck on their back, they're caged in small places. And this is a reality because we can't because we take these for granted in some places, I guess, because they can't communicate, they can't speak up, they can't oppose on what we are doing. We are trying all these innovations on them. In the name of innovations, we are actually abusing them. So this initially started, I remember coming home crying my eyes out, and I remember telling my mother, looking at I had a dog that time, so I was looking at him and I was telling him, what if they start testing on you? What if they start using your milk? What if they start eating dog's meat? So this was a chain of process that started running in my head. Because I could relate to an animal suffering, I realized that it's wrong. If I love a dog, if I love a cat, And if I feel that these two have rights, if these two need to leave, there are so many other animals who also have to leave, who also have the basic rights like us to start living. And that's why in 2018, I started my veganism journey. For me, it was very, very hard to become a vegan, I will tell, because I didn't have that kind of determination back then. So I became a vegan. I was a vegan. I mean, I was going on process, but there were days when I used to have cheat meals. I used to come home, eat ghee or some sweets that were non-vegans, because it was hard for me to be dedicated at one point. But then finally I realized that it's not okay for me to do such things, because I'm saying that I love animals, but then I'm saying it's okay if I eat one day because some other animal is getting abused, because I'm saying it's okay if I consume a non-vegan product for a day. And so slowly I started learning about this vegan lifestyle. I stumbled across the 21 days challenge by FIAPO, that time where Meghana is working. And I started following their page. It was a very beautiful journey, because they send recipes for us, breakfast, lunch and dinner to our emails. So then I realized that so many things that we eat, like basic rice, rasam, pickle, dal, everything is vegan. That mostly I eat in my house, except the curds part. Everything else is vegan. Dosa is vegan, pickle is vegan, chutney is vegan. As a Mangalorean, as a South Indian, as a Karnataka person, we all love our coconut chutney. What more do we need than that to eat with our dosa? So I realized most of the products that we eat are vegan, and we might have to eliminate certain things like maybe ghee and butter and curds, obviously. So later on in 2019, by chance, I contacted Meghana because I realized she was in town, and that was the same day I met Giselle ma'am also. And I guess after that, the beautiful journey of this activism started, because I was not confident to do activism on my own. I remember attending Meghana's talk in one of the college. I was sitting in the audience. I heard her talk, and yes, I got that confidence that I need to use my voice to be a vegan. So as you said, sir, about health, I would like to add a note upon that, health and veganism. So before I turned vegan, I used to suffer a lot from bloating. And this is, I'm sharing my own personal experience here. I used to suffer a lot from bloating, and also I suffered a lot from constipation. So I used to have very, very bad bowel habits, because of which it was very tough for me, and it was very embarrassing also for me at certain times, because I used to not pass stool for, maybe it is the TMI, international channel right here. Everybody is watching me. I'm saying this, but I had a very, very bad bowel habit. I used to suffer from constipation for 2 to 3 days, and I tried so many things so that my bowel habits become normal, so that I used to I can have a better bowel habits. But once I eventually started becoming vegan, I realized that quitting just milk was such a blessing for me, because my bloating came down to a greater extent. My bowel habits became very, very normal. I used to suffer from migraine, which also used to get triggered by cheese and dairy. Even by God's grace, I don't suffer from chronic migraine attacks right now. And I credit all that to my vegan lifestyle, because there are so many studies that have proved that the contents that are present in milk, especially the alpha P as well as casein, are directly related to hormonal imbalance. If you see so many people suffering from PCOD, PCOS, especially females, also suffering from acne, hair fall, as well as problems like bloating, gastritis, acidity, all these are got to do with the steroids as well as the hormones that are already present in the cow's milk or cow's product, dairy products, that we in turn consume, that causes inflammation in our body. So all this together leads to these various health disorders that we're seeing in the present time. And it's not a less known fact that even WHO has classified that dairy products are class 2 carcinogens. That means they are likely to cause cancer, whereas meat products, especially red products, are class 1 carcinogens. That means they have a direct association with cancer causing. So these can induce cancer in our body, which is one of the deadliest disease, even though there are so many advancements being happening in medical technology in treating cancer. There is no proper cure till date. for cancer or to avoid cancer. So I guess making a larger dietary modification, lifestyle modification, we can avoid not only the things like pandemic that is happening or global warming, we can save ourselves, our own life, our own health from various disorders, which is just life threatening as well as which can hinder our day-to-day activity. So with that, I would like to urge everyone that if you can't go vegan today, tomorrow, it's okay. Start slowly. Start reducing what you're consuming. You might eat meat or consume milk every single day, maybe switch to making it alternate days or only on the weekends. You can start it slow. You have to start. That is what we need to have a better future for ourselves, our coming generation, is that we need to start. If you need to do something, if you need to see a change in this world, you need to start and you need to know your why power. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to stick to doing this? And I know so many people who went vegan or who started trying vegan food because they wanted to give a better future for their kids, because they're worried about what's happening, the global warming and the pandemic. And they're worried that, because the climate change is so much that their kids may not be comfortable living on this earth. You can see, sir, this is, we are in November and we are all, I guess all of us are feeling hot here right now. So we can see the changes in the climate that is happening. So I know of many people who are concerned about their family, their kids, who want to try out now plant-based diet. So in the same fashion, I urge you all to make the switch, if not in a larger way, smaller way, step by step, start progressing and slowly become and try out plant-based food, try out veganism, and I'm sure you will see a really, really great advantage in your lifestyle as well as around you. So yeah, that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shruti Rao, for giving your own experiences and advantages of veganism. And Dr. Rao mentioned that how she became a vegan activist and giving her own experiences. But one point which she has made is very interesting, and she says medically, and now the WHO has also recommended about the meat. They says that the meat is one of the main reasons for the cancer, and the milk comes in the category 2, that it also causes cancer. It might be because especially in USA and UK, they always say that milk should not be given to the newly born baby, and that they never allow to be given. Might be the reason because in India, if the breastfeeding is not possible, immediately we switch over to a cow milk. But there they are not allowing. It might be some medical reason, which we will ask when we will come back again. But it is very interesting because one ex-IRS officer, one advocate, and one doctor, all are vegan activists, and they are talking about the advantages of vegan. And as Dr. Rao has appealed, that at least one can start once a week, then you can start gradually, and you can make a change. Thank you very much, Dr. Shruti Rao, for giving your views. Now I would like to ask Ms. Jisal Mehta. Ms. Mehta, you have mentioned about the veganism and advantages, but one question which is there, that if milking will not be done of cow, then what will happen to the cows? Do you think the cows, if they will not be milked, because the reason people say is that to whom I spoke, who are following the veganism, they say that the milk is for the calf, or for the cow's calf. But whether that milk which they are giving in quantity the calf can consume, if not, then what is going to happen? Because as per the reports which are reported, they says if the milking is not done, then it will be harmful for the health of cow. One side you are talking about the protection of animals, other side, do you agree that it will harm the cow? Ms. Mehta, please.
Okay, there's a reason you're getting so much milk, and it has nothing to do with the cow having a calf. It is because every single day that a cow has to give milk, it is being given an injection to have labor contractions. And this is what stimulates the prolactin, which then gives milk. So it has nothing to do with the calf at all now, because these days everything is by artificial insemination. The calf is taken away from the mother, especially if it's a bull calf. Straight away, it is either killed or it's left to fend for itself. And the female cow grows up to the same kind of miserable life as the mother. So it has nothing to do with the health of the cow or the calf, because the cow is tortured every single day with the hormonal injection to have labor pains. And this is what produces the secretions that we call milk.
Ms. Mehta, I'm just confused, because at my native place, we have about 40 cows at our own place. And we are definitely, I still remember in somewhere in 1979, I purchased the first cow, and all the offsprings of those cows are there. And but we never allow anyone to give any injection. But so much milk is there that what we have to do with the milk, we can't sell the milk. So we used to distribute to all our staff and to everybody. But my question, still I am wondering, are you sure that if the without injection giving, the cow will not give the milk which is excess to the
this is
consumption
what
of
is
calf?
the industrial practice. See, you may be doing things at the farm level. I do not know. I have not seen, I don't know. So I can't comment. But I'm talking of what is the industrial practice, because otherwise, how will you have these millions and billions of liters? Yours might have been for a subsistence existence where it's your family and your
that's
circle.
True, that's true.
But, you know, to kind of produce enough for the kind of demand we have in the world, it is not possible to wait for a cow to have a calf. You have to do it through some other process. And this is the process.
Okay.
And you're talking of the health of the cow. The cow would be much healthier if it just had a few deliveries in the ordinary course. But here she's forced to have calf after calf, or sometimes it is not even that which is required. The injection does the work.
Okay.
So
thank you.
No judgment passed on, you know, what may be humanely done and that I'm not aware of, but we are talking of the industrial practice, which is definitely not something that
yes, that's true. That's true. That's very true, because it is very common that how they are getting the milk. Now my question goes to Advocate Meghna Adhikari. Advocate Meghna Adhikari, you are protecting the animals. But if no animal will be killed, what is going to happen to the humans? Because I will give you an example. UP, there is a ban on cow slaughter. Recently, about 2, 3, or 4 years back, when the BJP government came in power. Now the things are, those because the cows are there, those who became old, they are of no use for the farmers or those who are keeping them, the dairy people, and they just leave them. And ultimately they came on the roads in the cities or the villages, and they are creating lots of problems for the human beings. And ultimately they were mistreated like anything. The purpose is defeated. Although the now UP government has created lots of goshalas where they are keeping those cows. It's a very, very expensive thing, about 800, 900 rupees per day per cow, expenses borne by the government. And there are lots of corruption. That is a separate aspect. But my question is, if all the animals in the world will not be killed, let's presume that one of the veganists has mentioned that by 2100 everybody will become vegan, then do you think the humans can live comfortably, or the life of humans will become miserable? Advocate Meghna Adhikari, please.
Yes. So it's actually a very good question, and a perspective that we need to look into. So when we say that, you know, if we stop consuming animals, what is going to happen to humans and how are we going to live? So technically there is the whole idea of overproducing these animals, and the cows that are in the streets, and this is something we need to question. Why are these cows on the streets? Why are these chickens that are being sold, like there are if you go to the streets, you see these small cages where these battery chickens are kept. There's like overproduction of these animals. So this is something we need to question. Why is this happening? It's happening because we are demanding for it. There's the overproduction of animals are happening because we are demanding for it. So the whole idea is to understand that we are, instead of we consuming some food directly, we are making these animals feed because we want to eat them indirectly. You know, we want them to grow. Say for example, if it's a cow or a buffalo, we want to feed grass and other things so that it produces milk, and then we consume it. Chicken, we produce all the grains so that it becomes bigger, and then we consume it. So it's basically a indirect procedure that we are forming. And of course I understand, you know, it's been ages that we are consuming these animals, and it's not like a sudden transition that's going to happen, like, you know, in one by next World Vegan Day, you know, the world will go vegan. It's going to be a transition, a step by step transition. And no, there won't be any harm to humans. In fact, the humans will have a better life if we really understand this concept of overproduction of animals. And we can actually save these natural resources for ourselves, and the world will be balanced. There's an imbalance happening right now. There's a lot of imbalance happening, so it will be balanced.
Okay, thank you very much, Advocate Adhikari. Now my question goes to Dr. Shruti Rao. Dr. Shruti Rao, nowadays a dengue fever is very much there in the North India, especially Delhi and nearby UP cities. And the common thing which they are prescribing, because the platelet counts goes down drastically, and the common thing they are prescribing is the goat milk, although the goat milk is not available so easily. Now, one side we are vegan, other side now for the goat milk people are running here and there. I was told that for only a bowl of milk it is costing 100 rupees. For the patients, those platelet count has gone down because the lots of deaths are taking place there. It's a pandemic or whatsoever you will say, although national media is not highlighting, but this the condition is so bad. Not a single hospital bed is available in Delhi and nearby place like Mathura, Agra, Aligarh, all those cities. My question is, one side we say we will become vegan, the other side medically we are asking that people should consume the goat milk. Then again, milk is milk, whether it's animal milk, whether it's some cow or the goat. So what you say about that, being a doctor? Dr. Shruti Rao, please.
So yes, sir. Actually, the Medical Council Board or the ICMR has not readily accepted that goat's milk is going to increase your platelet count. It is not there. It is just that this kind of word to word has been spreading from mouth to mouth among people that yes, goat milk will increase your platelet count. So going back to the medical term, platelets, you require something called as vitamin K, and vitamin K is available in citrus fruits, which is not there in goat at all. So if you want your vitamin K to be boosted, especially if you are living in an area where there's an endemic, like now dengue is an endemic because it is localized to Delhi and in UP regions, Mathura, Faizabad, etc. So what we need to do is boost our immunity so that we know that because we might be subjected to this particular disease because it's happening around, I may also get affected. We need to boost our immunity, and if people is already being affected by dengue, the best way is to nourish yourself with vitamin K rich products like citrus, kiwi, fruits, lemons, oranges, which flourishes in our country, sir. Frankly speaking, when I've studied a lot about like how eggs and meats and maybe cow's milk helps in certain health, but goat's milk, never have I ever studied vitamin K available in goat's milk or how it is going to help us in platelet. Because in dengue, what is the main concern is platelet count going down. That is what causes the biggest concern. So to increase platelet count, we need to concentrate on increasing the platelet count by eating a lot of vitamin K rich sources that are readily available in plant-based source. So which is also easily available. You don't have to spend a lot of money on goat's milk.
Yes, and they are also saying that the papayas leaves, one should eat the papayas leaf, but unfortunately people have cut the plants there, so it's very difficult to get even the leaves of papaya tree. So you are right in one way that if we will see the things in the plants, we can get. Thank you very much, Dr. Rao. Now my question goes to Ms. Mehta. Ms. Mehta, tell me very frankly, because see, being an officer, being an author, being a, I can use the word page 3 at one time, I still, is it not, is it really hard to be a vegan for a person like you and then others who wants to become vegan? Is it hard to be a vegan?
I can only say that I'm really sorry that it didn't happen sooner, that it's the most joyful thing. I feel everything else I have done really doesn't compare with the fact that you're saving life, you're saving the earth. It is truly something to be experienced. And it's not that I've cut off from the other things. I continue to do everything else that I do. I continue to write. I continue to speak. I have, in fact, grown in various areas. Now I've started composing for the vegan movement. I've done so many things. I've learned, for example, Reiki as an alternative to pharmaceutical solutions. So in fact, it's a huge growth process. Once you start being independent, not relying on the industrial world for your needs, it's something that makes you really flourish as a person. So I don't find it at all difficult. I find it an extremely enhancing and very, very joyful experience. And I invite every single person to experience that exuberant spirit.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Mehta. Now my question goes to Advocate Adhikari. Advocate Adhikari, I know you belongs to a rich family. So for you, it is not a problem. But in India, we have almost 60–70% population BPL, below poverty line. My question to you is, because all the report says that to be a vegan is very expensive. Is it expensive? What is your experience for that?
Yes, I come from a very humble family. I do not agree with what you say, Goel ji. And yes, this is something even I introspect about vegan being portrayed as expensive. And especially in India, where a lot of us are middle class. We come from a humble background, middle class family, or even below middle class BPL. So to say this, veganism, first we need to understand that it's not about finding alternative food. When we talk about vegan, now I need to find cashew cheese, I need to find almond milk, I need to find some alternative to meat. This is what is portrayed most of the time, but that's not the case. Veganism is making people understand to going back to basics of we don't really have to depend on animal products. While we have, especially in a country like India, we are abundant in natural resources. We have fruits and vegetables. We see foreigners coming to India and settling down solely for our fruits and vegetables. If you ask them, they like our fruits and vegetables, the tropical regions or any part of the country. And we have diverse food system. If you go to, say, Bihar, or if you go to somewhere in Tamil Nadu or Karnataka, anywhere, our traditional food is all plant-based. Everything is, mostly our food is plant-based. And this is what we grew up eating. So it's a wrong notion to say that veganism is expensive. If we talk about finding alternatives, yes, it is expensive because we don't have those products in the market and we don't have demand for those markets. And that is, again, it's for the urban area. People would like to try these alternatives in urban area. For rural area, we are still sticking to the basic normal dal, chawal, sabzi, roti, papad, pickle, all this food. This is our basic Indian food. So it's definitely not elite. Okay. It's not expensive.
Okay, thank you very much, Advocate Adhikari. I can give my experience in two ways. Expensive, yes, because I am eating tofu, and tofu packet, you might be knowing, it's very expensive, because if I am consuming one packet every day, it means at least 250 rupees or 280 rupees every day one has to pay. But the alternative for the meat, because earlier I used to be about 20–30 years back, I used to be non-veg, but now because of my wife, she being a Jain, I am pure veg. I found the jackfruit, which is available, especially in this region, so much. And if you prepare a dish of the jackfruit, a vegetable of jackfruit, whether dry or the wet, with the gravy, it gives the taste, the same taste as of a meat plate. So there are things, you rightly said, there are things one has to find out with home. But if you want to go for a fancy thing, definitely one has to shell out more money. But that I was told, and I have done it. Even the tofu can be prepared at home by grinding the soya seeds and making a milk, and then making like how we make the cheese, etc. We can the paneer, we can make the tofu also. So thank you very much, Advocate Adhikari, for giving your views. Now my question goes to Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao, I had a heart attack 5 years back, and my doctors told me, please have proteins. And because I was in London where I had a heart attack, so London doctors prescribed me meat and eggs and everything. I said, no, I'm pure vegetarian. And then they suggested that, oh, then you must go for the tofu. And my tofu journey started. My question to you is, how a normal person will get the proteins when the dairy products are not there? And we know that proteins are very, very important for our body composition and for the survival as a healthy life. What you say about that, Dr. Shruti Rao? Please unmute.
So basically, that's another kind of teaching or conditioning that we have been always followed, that protein comes from animal products. But just speaking vaguely, proteins are manufactured in these animals because they eat some other source, and all these animals that give us protein eat plant source. So plant source are rich in protein. So for us to produce protein from our body, there are so many plant sources, as you rightly said, sir. Tofu is one. But if you don't want to go till the extreme of tofu, we have basic dals that are available widely in our Indian cuisines. So from our basic moong dal, there is chickpea or chenna, which is highly rich in protein that we can consume. So yes, once you cook them, maybe the protein content becomes less and the carbohydrate content in some of the dals become more. But in uncooked, the sprouted forms, when you get them as sprouts, when you just soak them in water, that freshness what you get, and you consume them in form of salads, which is like in the whole food form, you get the best source of protein without any risk of developing cholesterol that you usually get with other protein sources. Like meat, high in protein, but they don't come only with protein. They come with fat and cholesterols and saturated fatty acids along with them. That is also another leading cause for having atherosclerosis. Like American Heart Association has directly told that consuming even dairy milk has around 24 milligram, like one glass of dairy milk has 24 milligrams of cholesterol. That is the leading cause for building up plaque or atherosclerosis, what we call, which is one of the leading cause for stroke in USA and also in India. Not only that, obesity comes along with eating protein. So we have been told that if you need to build a body, if you need protein, you need to eat so much of meat or so much of especially red meat or chicken. But we fail to realize that eating all of them not only comes with protein, they come with other risks also. So I guess we need to go to our traditional way, like how our ancestors who didn't have access, if you say, sir, meat is more expensive than even in tofu, I believe, the good quality meat, if you go in search of them. So if you're going to consume them every single day, our ancestors never had access to all those, but they were one of the healthiest living population in our country without any risk of what you call as a global diseases or, developed country diseases. They didn't have risk of all that. So I guess we need to maybe go back to our roots and start actually finding out or living the way our ancestors used to do. As I said, the basic source of proteins that we get from our Indian cuisines itself, starting from dal and chickpea, which are highly nourishes to our body.
Okay, thank you very much. My last thing, just a 30-second answer from Ms. Mehta. Ms. Mehta, how anyone can give the access to the right diet of a vegan diet? Is there any site or the website or something where they can see what type of diet they can have, or so that because there are lots of misconceptions, we do not want to promote that. If you have anything, if you can tell our
Yeah.
viewers so that
Yeah.
viewers can log in with that and then
Yeah.
they can. Yes, please.
There's Dr. McGregor's Daily Dozen. I haven't personally gone to that, but I've heard of it. Then in India, there is Sharan, Sharan. Sharan, you can kind of access them on social media. And the other thing is Sampurna Ahara in Bangalore. They also have a whole food plant-based diet, which is extremely local and very practical to do.
Okay, thank you very much. So viewers, you have seen today that on this World Vegan Day, the experts have mentioned very, very clearly that if you really want to live healthy life, and if you really want to do something for the society where you are living, and whether it's for environment or for the animals, then the best way is you become vegan. And they have given all the advantages, because there are lots of myths in among the people and the society, but those myths can be clarified if you really contact somebody who is a vegan activist, or as Ms. Mehta has given that Sharan, you can log in and check up on the Google search and see the advantages. After all, we are living here, we are a civil society. We have to think. Today there is a climate conference, global climate conference are going on, where all the top leaders, including our honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, is attending. They are worrying about the global warming. And if we can contribute it by becoming vegan. I don't think that we can do a very good service what we can do just becoming vegan. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, as well as was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And in our endeavor to bring to you everyday new topic, and tomorrow in media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m., our topic is Sabarmati Ashram controversy. Yes, you might have heard clearly, because there is a controversy about the Sabarmati Ashram, which we are going to analyze tomorrow. And tomorrow the panelists are Professor Dr. Sudhir Charan, former visiting professor, IIM Lucknow and University of Texas, Dallas, USA, Senior Director, Don Bosco Group, Bengaluru. Professor Dr. Pramod Pathak, International Corporate Trainer, Public Speaker, Blogger and columnist, former Professor and Head of the Management Studies, IIT Dhanbad, and Advocate Shashank Deo, Sudhi, Supreme Court, New Delhi. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Ms. Jisal Mehta.
Thank you very much. It's been very
Advocate
interesting.
Meghna Adhikari, and thank you very much, Dr. Shruti Rao, for giving and enlightening all of us on this very, very great day, that is the World Vegan Day. And thank you all the viewers for watching our show. And I'm sure today's program is very enlightening, and a few of us, or I will say maximum of us, should try to follow the vegan diet. And if any problem, one can contact, as given the details given by Ms.